everybody, and welcome to the Bell Life. I appreciate you guys so much for tuning in. My name is Judith, if you don't know that, and today I'm going to teach you or show you how I make a marinade that I use in almost everything. So those of you who have been following me on Instagram for a while now, you hear me mention Epis a lot, over and over. Oh, I'm putting some Epis in the spaghetti. Oh, I'm putting some Epis in the meatballs. Oh, I'm putting some Epis in the chicken and the pork. So some of you have heard that word over and over, and whenever I say it, I'm like, okay, just Google it if you don't know what it is. But I thought it would be very thoughtful and helpful if I actually explained what it is, what I put into it, and why it's so important. So number one, Epis is kind of like a Haitian marinade or seasoning. It's a blend of peppers, herbs, and kind of like seasonings, and it is so good. It's basically like an all-purpose marinade or seasoning that you can put in basically anything you cook, and it's literally magical. It takes your dish from 0 to 100. Even if your dish was a 100 already, it takes it to 200. So it's an amazing marinade that I feel like you can use in just about everything. I do want to say I am not Haitian, but my godparents are, and I remember my godmother, she had like a cooking class for a lot of the girls in my church, I think when I was in like middle school or high school. And this is one of the things that she taught us how to make. She taught us how to make Epis. She taught us how she makes her chicken. I think it's called poulet sauce. Please don't kill me if I said that incorrectly. But she taught me so many things. I love her so much. So as I'm teaching you this, a lot of the cooking inspiration that I have came from her. So I love you so much. You know who you are. Without further ado, I think I'm going to go ahead and get started. So as you can see, I have some vegetables here. The vegetables that I have are green onions. I have a green pepper. I have a red bell pepper. I have a white onion. I am going to use shallot, which kind of reminds me of a mixture of garlic and onion. And then I have a jumbo garlic clove. I'm only using one because it's so huge. So that's what I'm putting in as far as my vegetables. As far as my herbs, thyme. Thyme is so essential. I feel like just to about any type of Caribbean food that you're gonna cook. I have some parsley. Another important part is kind of like the seasonings and the things that are gonna help to preserve this marinade, because as you can see, there are a lot of fresh vegetables and herbs in it. And if you want it to last for a little bit, you need to add some more stuff to preserve it. So cloves are essential. They taste awful by themselves, but I'm telling you, when you put it in the food, it is so good. So cloves are essential, in mine at least. Olive oil also helps to preserve the mixture. I like to add some peppercorns, a little bit of kosher salt, and of course a bouillon cube. And if you watch other YouTubers, sometimes they call it a Maggi cube. It just depends on who you're watching, but I call it a bouillon cube, and I'm using Knorr, the brand Knorr. I'm gonna go ahead and start with the green onions. So I'm just going to cut these little ends off. That's where I'll start. And also, if you see a clear plate in front of me, that's a plate that I'm using to collect anything that I'm not putting in the marinade as far as fresh vegetables, because we're starting a garden, and basically any scraps we have, we put into our compost bin. What we're gonna do, I'm gonna blend this mix of peppers up to create more space, and then I'll add the rest of the herbs that aren't in there yet. I'll go ahead and add my olive oil too. So I don't really measure the olive oil, the amount of oil that I put in. I just kind of add enough for me to see some at the bottom and then I just blend it up. You just kind of want to add enough where it'll blend smoothly. And when it's having a hard time blending and I put the oil in already, I just add a little bit of water and see if that helps out. So let's see. All right, now that we've blended that and there's a little bit more space left for me to add more things, I'm gonna go ahead and show you the rest of the things that I add. I think now is a good time to hop on over to the herbs. So now we need some thyme. So I'm just gonna kind of take this thyme, and once again, I don't measure, I just kind of grab. I'm gonna take about this much thyme and just, it helps if you cut it. Cut it in half, throw it in there. I'm also going to get some parsley, and once again, I did freeze this, so that's why it kind of looks a little funny. I'm gonna get my parsley out. And I'm just gonna cut off about that much. Parsley, throw it in there. Now that we've added the herbs, we're gonna go ahead and start adding some of our seasonings. So cloves, once again, they taste awful by themselves, in my opinion. But when you add them to food, they just take it to the next level. So I'm not really going to measure the amount of cloves I'm using, but this is about how much I'm using. So I'm not sure how many that is, but we have a pretty large mixture, so that's why I'm adding a little bit more cloves than usual. Next, I'm going to add some peppercorns. Once again, I'll use the clove top to show you how many peppercorns I'm adding. I'm gonna add about this much peppercorns. I'm going to add a little, let me stop right here. When it comes to the amount of salt that you're adding to your marinade, it's, in my opinion, it's not important for the Epis to be salty or anything like that, because remember, this is kind of just like a base marinade or base seasoning that you can add to meats, that you can add to rice, that you can add to spaghetti. So you can add your salt later on to the actual meat and spaghetti and whatever you're doing. So the point of the marinade isn't necessarily to get it as flavorful and salty as possible. You just want to add enough salt, in my opinion, to where it has a good taste, but also it preserves the mixture since you have so many fresh herbs in it. So I'm just going to pour a little bit of kosher salt in. And then I'm going to add 1 chicken bouillon cube. And one thing I will say, one thing that I do a lot of the times, I don't measure because sometimes I feel like measurements are too concrete, and if you always follow the measurements, your food won't turn out too good. So that's why I feel like it's important to just kind of taste, add more, take away, depending on how you feel that day. So I'm gonna add these seasonings, and of course I'm gonna give it a little taste. If I feel like it needs more of something, I just add more of that. But you just kind of going with the flow and feeling how much you should add. So let's go ahead and blend this up. All right, guys, I have my spoon and I'm going to taste the marinade. I'm gonna stir it up a little bit. And let's just see how it tastes. I think that tastes good. I think it tastes good. So what I'm gonna do now, I feel like is an important part. I'm gonna take this marinade that I made and I am going to pour it into an airtight container. Make sure it's airtight. Having it airtight helps to preserve it longer. I have this plastic container, but we have used just about any and everything. Whenever we run out of spaghetti sauce in those kind of jugs that you can get from the store, we clean that out real good, tear the label off, and put our Epis in it. So you can use anything that has a top that's airtight. So I'm gonna go ahead and pour this in here. All right, so here, I'm gonna try to give you guys a close-up. Here is my Epis. It is absolutely delicious, and I may be able to show you, maybe today, so you may see me in another video with the same outfit on. I may show you today, if I have some time, what I use this on. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your love. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. And if you've watched this long, I appreciate you so much. What I want you to do is just comment down below if you have your own marinade recipe that you use. Maybe it's not the Haitian Epis recipe, maybe it's something else. Let me know what you put in it. If you do make Epis at home, let me know if mine is different than yours, the same as yours, things that you add, things that you don't add in. One thing about me is I don't feel like I'm a master chef. I just love cooking and I love learning and I love sharing. So I'm sharing with you guys how I made this, but I also would love if you shared with me how you do certain things as well. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day. Bye.